What's something that makes your soul feel most alive?
I love that question. Definitely what makes my soul feel most alive is, I would say, performing in general, like a dance class. If I go to a dance class and the music is pumping, and after a dance class, I just feel so lit up. For me, dancing is something that I can do like any time of the day. If I'm exhausted, even if it was like a 4 a.m. like wake up call, that's something that I just always love doing, and it just lights my soul up. I use music every day, really. That's one thing that I've like clicked in my head for my own mental health, is just what a tool music is, and I intentionally do that every day. I go on my little morning walk. I pump music that intentionally gets my spirits up and gets me lifted, and yeah, it's a big part of my morning every day.
What is the most life-changing decision you've ever made?
I want to say probably the most life-changing decision I made was probably to get into radio. There was a period in my life where I was actually contemplating going to performing arts school. I ended up getting a radio job at the same time and went down that path. And I'm so glad that I did, because it's been fantastic. I've been in radio for almost 20 years, and it's given me, I grew up like a really shy kid, and so now that I speak publicly for a living, it's kind of funny. So it really developed a different side of me and gave me a skill and a tool set that I'm really grateful that I've experienced, because now I can use the public speaking for doing stuff like this, and just talking about things that are important and things that matter. But it would have been interesting, sometimes I do think about, if I had have made a different decision and gone the performing arts path, like maybe I would have gotten more into like talking about the dancing and the music. And I think honestly, in a different life, I could have seen myself like going to Broadway, like being a Broadway baby, and that would have been pretty fun. There's also really that side of me that really wants to help people, and I've gone down the path of going to nutrition school and done some other breathwork training, and was working with clients and coaching, doing some coaching work and stuff before as well. So it is interesting how Bron and I have like those similarities of like those two sides of us, like the one side that really wants to help and work with people, and then this other performing arts side. Yeah.
What is something that you're committed to?
My health. That's an easy one for me. I grew up like a pretty sick kid from a pretty young age. Like by the time I was in grade 6, I was almost 200 pounds and just like chronically ill. I was always at the doctor, on lots of antibiotics, like my whole life. And so I kind of took it in my own hands at a pretty young age. Like I started working out every day after school in grade 6. I'd come home and start kickboxing, and started going and seeing a nutritionist and a naturopath like at a pretty young age. And that's just something that I've been super committed to now my whole life, because I feel like I had the experience at a young age of not being well. And so now I'm really connected to like the value of health and feeling good. And like if your health goes, nothing else really matters, right? Like it's kind of everything.
What is your biggest battle right now?
Radio is something that I've been doing, like I said, for almost 20 years, and I really love it, and it's really fun. And I also have this other side to me that, just like makes me emotional, because I feel very, very called to wanting to help people and to be moving. I feel like the last 5-6 years, I've really been playing in the wellness space and taking all these different trainings and courses, and I just feel like on a deep soul level, like I'm here to be doing that and helping people. It's interesting how it makes both my brother and I so emotional, and I think that's just some truth of like how deep that yearning is to really be wanting to do this work. But I just feel like it's very easy in our day-to-day lives to get distracted with work, and you only have so much time in a day, in a week, and it's just very easy for time to keep passing and years to keep going by. And I'm like, sometimes I think hard on myself for not committing to those things more, making more space, and really like stepping into it. I think It's really easy to stay in your comfort zone, something that you've been doing for a really long time. If you've had the same career for a long time, it's easy to just stay in that. Especially as we get older, I think it can be scary to step out and do new things and new ventures. And so I think like, as I've like tiptoed into this other pool of, you know, coaching and you know, that other kind of more holistic wellness space, it's brought up a lot of just my own self-doubts and insecurities and all that. So it's easy, I think, to stay in your comfort zone, especially when you're getting a paycheck that's paying your bills and it's like, I don't have to go and do that work, you know? But yeah, it definitely like pops up in my head quite frequently where I'm like, your soul wants you to be doing this. Why are you not, you know, creating more time and space for it?
Were you ever bullied?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I'm trying to think. I remember the first time I was bullied was in grade 3, and I remember sitting at my desk and I was wearing shorts, and there were like boys in front of me and they were looking at me and laughing. And I don't know, you know, you look back on things, you're like, were they actually laughing at me? But in that moment, I made it mean that they were laughing at my legs. And like I grew up the chubby kid. So yeah, that was the first memory that really stands out in my mind. But all throughout my younger years, for sure, you know, never had any boys wanting to date me. I was the chubby girl. Girls were mean to me and they teased me and were just, yeah, really cruel. And then I lost the weight. Like I said, I started working out in grade 6, eating a lot healthier. And then, to be honest, girls were like bullying me, you know, when I lost all the weight, and they were still mean to me then. So it's been really interesting. I've the last number of years, I feel like this has led to me really working on rebuilding my relationship with women, because for such a large part of my younger years, girls were just mean to me. And so for a really long time, I just felt like, you know, women are not kind to me. It's not safe. You know, so I had a lot more male friendships, I think, growing up because of that. Meeting lots of amazing women now, you know, later on in life, and lots of amazing women out there that I'm very grateful for.
What would you tell little Denai?
Say you're a badass bitch. Yeah, I think younger Denai was very insecure, low self-confidence, very quiet, like back in the corner, shy. And I would just say to her, like, doesn't matter what you look like, you are a potent woman. Own it, own it, own it, own it. Yeah, own your space, feel good about the person that you are, and just, you're powerful. Whatever you put your mind to, you're gonna accomplish it and achieve it. Own your potency and power.
What is your greatest emotional fear?
I think probably my biggest fear would be something health related, like getting sick. I feel like I still am a bit of a hypochondriac with that stuff because of getting sick so frequently as a kid. And I'm very mindful of, I think our minds are super powerful. So I try not to create this story and belief too much in my head of like, I'm a sick person, but I have my whole life really dealt with a lot of health issues. And like, yeah, it's been frustrating. Like, I've had a lot of health issues, you know, the last little while, and it's just frustrating. Anybody out there who's had like chronic health issues, you know how much it can be really debilitating in your life. And sometimes I look at other people who just seem to be able to live life and are healthy, and when you're not feeling well, it's just like a constant thing that's, you know, in your head every day. It's a distraction. It's weight on your shoulders. Yeah, because I've had such a lifelong experience of that. That is probably I want to say like the only thing that I'm really afraid of is getting some kind of like illness that, I don't know, is untreatable or whatever. I don't know. I'm a sensitive one in all the ways. Emotionally, body-wise, like, yeah.
What's the scariest thing you've ever done?
I want to say like probably public speaking is what comes to my mind, especially because I did grow up like a really shy kid. And like they say public speaking is one of the most common, like number one fears, even over death. And it's funny because I often forget, we forget sometimes like how far we've come. And sometimes even when I'm at work and I'm, on the radio and I get people calling in and I can tell how nervous they are. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. This is a thing that like a lot of us are really fearful of. But I definitely remember when I first got into radio and public speaking, how scary it was to have our voices and our thoughts being heard by other people. I think all of us, we want to feel like our thoughts are of value, but there's also that like real vulnerability of sharing ourselves really openly and people judging it and, yeah. It's interesting, like the new radio gig that I've got has been more vulnerable because it is me talking and sharing a lot more than previous radio jobs I've had. I think there still is like a vulnerability of, like I think about what I'd really like to be doing is like starting a podcast, talking about things that are, conscious, health, wellness, like just more within what we're kind of talking about right now. And yeah, I think there is, even though I've been doing radio for 20 years, I think there's still something even more vulnerable about doing something like that, because it's just you, with the radio station. It's like I'm still trying to reach out to that mainstream audience versus if I did a podcast and it was all just like, what does Denai think we should talk about? That's just a little aside, but
That means you should do it.
yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah.
What is the most painful thing you've been told?
First thing that comes to my mind was probably in a past relationship with someone who at the time, I thought was my person, who I thought was kind of like my soulmate, and finding out that there was betrayal. Being really in love with someone and then having them betray you and do things that just having the rug pulled out from under you. I think a lot of people have probably experienced that, and I just remember being told what had happened and my whole body just like feeling like the flush of heat through my whole body. Like I vividly remember that physical body sensation and just like complete shock when the rug is pulled out from under you like that and somebody does something that you just wow, like had no inkling of that happening or that somebody could do that. Yeah, it's hard to hear.
Who is your hero?
Honestly, the first person who came to my mind is my mom. Her and I have had such a very, very close relationship my entire life, and she's been through a lot of really hard things. She has definitely been a huge part of why I'm the woman that I am today and why I'm so passionate about certain things. I feel like she's somebody who doesn't see how incredible and how amazing she is, and despite the hard things that she's been through, she is such a happy, vibrant, funny woman who just like lights up any room that she's in and has the ability to light anyone up, make anyone's day. Like she's just like human sunshine. And I don't think that she sees that about herself. But I just really admire how strong she is, despite, like I said, all the really challenging things that she's experienced in her life. The fact that she's able to maintain that like happy disposition and has created like, her and my dad have been together for 40 years. We've got this amazing family, this close family. And yeah, she takes care of, all of her siblings are like dealing with health things. She's the oldest in her family and she's like taking care of everyone else. She's like the most loving, nurturing person. But just her fun, playful, sunny disposition is pretty inspiring.